Hi everyone, this is Arad from English for Everyone, and today's lesson, this video, is about modal auxiliary verbs. We have different auxiliary verbs or helping verbs, and modals are a group of them. Actually, modals also are helping verbs like do, does, did, have, has, am, is, are, and these kind of things, but some of them are called modal verbs, and we're going to talk about these verbs in this video. Modal verbs are verbs like can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, and I think I mentioned all of them, I can't remember. So you can see them over here. These are the modal verbs. These are used to make a sentence negative like other auxiliaries, to change it to question just like the other ones, and also they come to sentence, they come to sit beside the main verb, and they bring a meaning to the sentence. They change the meaning of sentence to some extent, and they bring a meaning of necessity, obligation, likelihood, ability, or permission, or other things. You can see them over here again. So these are the kind of meanings: permission, giving instructions, offering help, suggesting, these kind of things. These are all there. We understand these things in between the lines because of those auxiliary verbs or helping verbs. Let's call them modal verbs. Okay, so modal verbs come to sentence and do this. But there are things that we need to be careful with. Modal auxiliary verbs are never used with other auxiliary verbs, other helping verbs, like do, did, does, and these kind of things. So be careful. You should not use do, did, does with these kind of verbs, with modal verbs like can, could, shall, should. You cannot use do, did, does, have, am, is, or these kind of verbs with them. Okay, so they do not appear in one sentence or in one bit of sentence or a clause, let's say. Okay, so this is one of them. The other thing is that when we have these in the sentence, the main verb is simple. Okay, the modal verbs would not take s, third person s, or ed, and they do not let the main verb to take these either. Okay, for example, I say I speak English, she speaks English. Okay, then I want to talk about the ability, so I say I can speak English. Talking about she, I say she can speak English. Again, the same thing, can speak. You can see over here. In the first sentence I say I speak English, she speaks English. We add third person s. The second set, I say I can speak, she can speak. Both the same. Because when can is in the sentence, the main verb can't change, it should be this main form of the verb, the simple form of the verb. Now we can't have ed or anything like that either. The other thing is that after the helping verb, the modal verb, we should not add to, or we would not add to before the main verb. Okay? Of course, ought to is different, but not the other ones. I hear lots of people say, I must to go. No, that's not right. We can't have to after must. Okay? I should to, I must to, no. So we do not have to after modal verbs. Okay? So after modal auxiliary verb, we have the simple form of the verb. No to before that, no third person s on it, no ed or no second form of the verb after modal auxiliary verb. Okay, so this is the rule. It is a must. Okay, so let's have some examples. Just the example I mentioned, I can speak, or she can speak 3 languages. She can speak 3 languages. Can in this sentence is talking about the ability. Okay, I can have could in the sentence. She could speak three languages, and that is about an ability, but it is about past. So could is the past tense of can. So she could speak three languages, she can speak three languages. Both are talking about the ability. Another place that we use can is when we ask for permission, okay? For example, I say, can I go home? Can I go home? Can, in this sentence, brings the meaning of permission to the sentence. Without can, the sentence has nothing to show permission. If I say, I go home, that is not asking or is not talking about anything about permission. If I change it to a yes/no question, I say, do I go home or do you go home? That is not about permission either. Okay, you see that the sentence doesn't have anything that is related to permission, but when can comes to sentence, that talks about permission. That brings that meaning, that smell of permission. Okay, that sense of permission is there because of can. Or I might say, could I go home? Can I go home? Could I go home? In this case, could is not the past tense, it is a bit more polite. Just that. Okay, so I am asking for permission now and I use could, and that is okay. Or I might say, may I go home? That is also possible, and that means the same thing. So we use these for permission, for ability, or for just to request something. For example, I am doing something, I have an umbrella or something in my hand and I need my hand now. So I just tell my friend, can you hold it for me? Can you hold it for me? I'm not talking about the ability. I'm not asking if you have the ability to hold this. I know you have, but I am requesting, okay? A polite request. I say, can you hold it for me? Or I can say, could you hold it for me? A bit more polite. Or I might ask, will you hold it for me? Or would you hold it for me? So, would you hold it? Would you take it for me? Would you, will you, can you, could you? All are possible, but would is, let's say, polite. We use this if we were talking to an elderly person. And on the other hand, we would not use will. Will you hold this? Will you? It's a kind of telling someone off. If we say will, it's not a good way. But unless you are very friendly and familiar with the person, so your friends, yeah, you use that, that's fine. But not talking to an elderly person. We also use these to suggest something. For example, I see a friend after a period of time on street, and I say, oh, we should meet sometime. We should arrange, or we should meet at the weekend, for example. We should. In this case, should is offering, suggesting. Okay, I'm giving a suggestion. So to suggest something, you might use these. Or obligation. For example, I say, you must obey the law. Must brings the mean, or if we use it in a negative way, must or mustn't. Both are used to talk about obligations in some kind of force. It can be an internal force or force from outside, but anyway we can use to show that obligation. So we use these things for obligations, permissions, offering, talking about the ability, and all these things. They all can take not to change the meaning of the sentence to a negative one. We might take the auxiliary to the beginning of the sentence, I mean the modal verb to the beginning of the sentence, to change it to a question. So it is just like the other ones, these auxiliaries are like the other auxiliaries, but they also bring that kind of meaning to the sentence. There are lots of sentences, in different sentences, they might take different meanings. So now let's review them. For example, my sentence is, I see Andy. For example, Andy is my colleague, I go to work and I see him every day. So I see Andy. This is what happens. Then I say I must see Andy. If I bring must before the main verb, I show obligation. I need to see this person. This is very, I highly need this. Okay, so I say must. Or if it's not that high, I say I should see Andy. I need to see Andy. I should see Andy. Okay, or I can see Andy. Means that Andy is in my sight. For example, we were in a busy market or bazaar and Andy is missing, we can't see Andy anywhere, and I say, oh, I can see Andy. This is ability. This is what can happen. It means I have the ability if Andy is in my sight. I could see Andy, that is about past. I may see Andy, I mean the ability in past. I may see Andy means it is a likelihood, a possibility. There is a possibility. I might see Andy, I may see Andy. So may, might, about, possibility, mainly, can, could, mainly ability. But we might use them with other things as well. For example, can is mainly about ability, but I say, can I help you? This is offering something. Or can I go home? That's asking for permission. Before I forget, I just need to tell you that must, the past tense of must is had to. So have to and has to and must. These three have the same form of past tense, and that is had to. Okay, now it's your turn. Make as many examples as you want. Just change them and see what the result is. Some of them might seem a bit weird to you. You might not be happy with some of those examples that you have in front of you. Just comment them below my video and let me know. I'll look at them, I'll check them for you, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.